To it. All right, everybody. This is our live Wednesday call. What's the date today? February 21st, 2024. And so Mr. Mark, Pastor Mark, and I have my guest Matt on tonight. So everybody that's going to be watching this tomorrow, tune in. And hopefully, if you have questions that come up during this tonight for Matt, and you're not on here, obviously, then shoot them to me and I can probably talk to him and get you some answers. So, but I'm super stoked to have him on tonight. But let's start like we do every Wednesday night. I mean, there's only 3 of us on. Mark, do you have any wins you want to share? Anything going on?
Well, I had to miss a week of exercise, but I got back into it and I did fine. Congestion and all. So that was a huge win for me.
Okay, good.
And it seems that, Matt, I had a kidney stone crushed a couple of weeks ago, and I think everything's going as it's supposed to. So I'm feeling a lot better.
I've heard that.
It was causing me urinary tract infections. I had like about 5 of them since August, and so got rid of that thing.
I've heard the
now it's up to Scott to try to figure out what in the world is the cause of that. But anyway.
Yep.
So
all right. Well, thanks for sharing. I'll tell you what, that's the thing. That's the truth, because I know you've been through it with we were just talking about it before we recorded, but just, you know, a lot of us have been attacked over the winter time with you know, illnesses and sicknesses and all sorts of things, kidney stones, whatever it may be. You know what? It's going to build up resilience. But yeah, you're exactly right. Like doing some lab work here in the future for you, Mark, and then anybody else who's just getting started with the program, because I got a lot of new incomers, new people onboarding. So it's going to be really fun to kind of see the progress we can make over time. Matt, I want you to share, man, that win that you just told me about, because I thought this was cool. So share with us what your win is, even though you're a guest.
You're starting me off. You're starting me off this way. This is not like a brag, but it was a fun. We were just kind of talking about some clientele and things like that. Oh, actually, I did pull up his thing here, but gentleman named I don't know if you guys can you set that main in there, that picture?
yeah.
But he lost in the year. Total inches, like 33.9% body fat loss, 140 pounds. But his name's Mark Osweiler. He's a local dude here in Lincoln, and he's doing Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping, which is a local gym. They have a couple locations we do a lot of stuff with, and I helped him the final probably 4 or 6 months of his transformation to a year-long contest they run with all their, well, Farrell's local gym we work with here, but I don't know. I don't want to overshoot, but they're in about 8 or 10 different states that they do a national contest every year for an annual winner. And they surprised him at the gym here 2 weeks ago with a $10,000 check for his transformation. So,
cool.
So that was cool to be a part of that. But just on the subject of kind of some clientele we were talking about, and so yeah, it was fun to be a part of that.
That's cool. No, I appreciate you sharing that. When you told me that, I was like, that's a win. I mean, because that's like you guys, as you know, you and what you guys do at your shop. And then obviously he put in a lot of hard work and had discipline to do so. But I'm very familiar back. Gosh, this is going back a ways. When I first moved back to Lincoln, when I moved here to open a practice, I did Farrell's for a while. And I mean, it was.
Did you? I maybe actually remember that.
Yeah, it was, gosh, that probably was 2010, so 14 years ago or so. But I knew Tammy, who owned it at the time.
Yeah.
And she convinced me. I was just kind of a meathead football player, weightlifter at the time. She's like, oh, you need to come try Farrell's. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk, you know? And then because it's just like resistance band work. Oh, yeah. By the end of my first upper body resistance class, the little old ladies next to me were using heavier bands than I was. I swear on my life, because it's just a whole different type of workout. Oh my gosh, it kicked my butt. So anyway,
a little humbling.
That's really cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I had my win for the week. I'll share with you guys. I think most of you guys knew that last night I hosted an online webinar. It was called the Gut Health Masterclass. It was awesome. I mean, I did some social media advertising and just some networking with people I know, but I had over 100 registrants for it. So
great.
So yeah, it was just a great exposure, great learning. You know, obviously the point is just to pass on education, talking about gut health and how that impacts just health in general. So Yeah, and then yeah, just talking to a lot of people. So it's going really well with the functional med biz, and really grateful for all you guys and spreading the word to friend, family, coworkers, whoever that needs help in their health walk. Someone to, because you guys kind of know at this point, someone to spend time with them, to listen to them, to guide them, to coach them. It's not just 5-10 minutes and you're out the door type of service that I'm providing. So anyway, if you know anybody else you can refer, that'd be great. I'd love to talk to them. So without further ado, because we usually try to keep these, you guys know 9:15 at the latest. I'm going to introduce Matt. So Matt, I've known you for a long time because, the Nutrition Authority is the shop that Matt manages down on 27th, kind of near 27th and Pine Lake. It used to be called Max Muscle. So I've been around Lincoln for a long time. The owner is Chad Case, who I've also known for a number of years. He was an old Wesleyan guy, and I was as well. We both played football there. He was a few years ahead of my time, but just great guys, very smart people down there in the supplement world and the nutrition world. And that's why I wanted to bring him on tonight. Some of you guys obviously probably recognize him because I do encourage all of you guys to go down to the shop. They've been gracious enough to allow y'all to come down and do the in-body scan. If you haven't gone down there yet, please do. You'll visit with Matt or one of his colleagues. They'll get you hooked up on this in-body scan, which he's going to talk about a little bit tonight. But the main reason I'm having Matt on tonight is to talk a little bit more about what they can do with nutrition, meal planning, macro counting, all of the things that they do in their world, the nutrition kind of specialist world, because that's not my jam. That's not my job. My job is to kind of figure out and deep dive with you guys of what's going on, do the lab work, kind of give you some big pointers as far as like how you need to be eating and how you need to clean it up. But man, if you need help with more details and more accountability in that nutrition part of this whole journey of health, then Matt is one of those guys that I would trust. I know, like, and trust these guys down there that you guys could work with. So, everybody has to kind of feel, mesh with somebody in this world. So a few weeks ago, we had Emily Estes on, who does more behavioral psychology of food nutrition work, which is quite different than what Matt and the guys down at Nutrition Authority are doing. So I am going to let you go ahead and take it away. I'll mute myself, and if I have questions, I'll pop back in. All right, Matt? So introduce yourself and
Cool.
take us on.
Awesome. Matt Dow here. Yeah, like Scott said, Scott's got a ton of energy, by the way, 8:45 p.m. and subtle drop. I've been up since 3:45 here. So I'm just, it's a grind. But no, so a big chunk of what we do, obviously we have the retail side of things, a couple stores in town where we do sports nutrition, general health supplements, weight loss, muscle gain, whatever it is. Do a lot of student athlete stuff. But ultimately a big chunk of our business is customized meal planning. And we kind of really do it in a full fashion where, one, we help design an actual program for individuals. So the goal being, let's set up a protein, carb, and fat overall calorie goal. We have a nutrition app that we utilize, so we kind of set that for the daily and meal by meal, and it's fully custom to an individual, both on their goals, their daily routines, their habits, tendencies. I mean, it's got to fit your day, otherwise it's not going to be a work for the long haul. And we really do focus on the lifestyle, where it's we want you to be successful for the long haul and not just an 8, 10, 12-week goal. And then on the other side of it, we create accountability with our program. So Scott and I were just talking here a couple minutes ago about how often do we want people coming in, and with our specific programming, we like to get clients in on a weekly basis. The goal being is that, one, if you have a couple bad days, the very least we can reset you, rebalance you, get you going again, versus it stringing into 2 or 3 weeks, and those bad habits can fester the wrong way too. So our whole goal, and I'll share my screen here just as I'm kind of talking about this. But our app is a pretty cool here where what we kind of do with it is we have the ability to track everything through our body, both body composition. I'm low here, but so we create a template. I don't know if you can see my curve here showing it, but we create a template that fits size. We have a whole back end, but the app is in somebody, they're able to have it handheld on their phone. Obviously, it's a full kind of accountability system app where it allows you to log and track and create meals that fit protein, carb, and fat goals for you. You get instant kind of scores with that. And then again, we do client check-ins, get you in here. We walk through your food logs. We do an in-body scan, and we're talking about that. And Scott, I don't know how much you've shared on the in-body itself. And obviously here with Mark's done it. But it's a pretty nice way for us to measure body composition. Obviously, weight most people is important, but we really want to see what both visceral body, which is going to be the underlying aspect of metabolic disease, health, etc. But understanding that, let's say weight loss, for instance, is the goal. Well, if you're gaining muscle and dropping fat, that scale might not always correlate the same way. And understanding how we're moving and charting. And on the same side of it, if we lose too much weight, we're losing muscle. That's not a good thing either. So trying to create a whole accountability kind of program with what we do in store here.
Yeah, I think, this in-body scan technology is really cool because back in the day, when I was going through exercise phys and all those classes in my undergraduate studies, it's like, yeah, calipers. And then you had to do like underwater weighing was like the most accurate thing at the time. And it's like, I mean, who had access to that? And that still was hard and difficult to get an accurate reading, in my opinion, because you have to blow out all the air in your lungs and then go underwater. So anyway, this technology is really cool. And they did have the little handheld, what were those called? Bioimpedance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I mean, I would do it 3 times in a row when I worked at the YMCA, and it would like my body fat would change by 5% or more every single time.
Every time.
And so the accuracy of this in-body thing and technology is really cool. So everybody needs to go do that and have that done. And I'll let you talk about how frequently, but 4 to 6 weeks would be great for our purposes.
Yep.
In this program. So just getting at least 3 of those done in this 16-week kind of program would be great. And I like what you said. It's not just about, body fat and total weight, but that visceral fat is really important. That's one of the things that I look at the most. And then also the water, the extracellular water, intracellular water ratios, to see if someone's drainage pathways are working properly, etc. So, if you want to add anything to that, that's great. But I think I sat down with Chad. Again, Chad Case owns the stores, and talk about the way that the InBody integrates with the nutrition app that you were just showing us. Because I wasn't aware, I guess, that the connection is there. How will you guys use those things together?
Yeah, there's twofold. One, every time somebody scans, it gets kicked in directly to. We have what we call kind of our back end where I can view somebody's, like I can reset their whole app, do everything with that. But even to an individual, they can track and chart their scans within the app as well too. Within that, there is some, I don't know if AI is the right word or algorithm, but obviously based on scans, we do get some instant feedback that we're able to look at. We kind of have a little rules or flows chart where it's like, hey, let's say that that muscle went up and fat went down, hey, everything's good. But for instance, if muscle went down and fat went up, we get some quick recommendations based on looking at a combo of their food logs and the in-body scan to maybe readjust things and set some different goals or things that we can kind of work on to hopefully improve it and tweak the process as well too, right? We want obviously in a perfect world, every scan would be a pat on the back and say, hey, things look great, let's keep it going. But the reality is that sometimes using those scans as a learning process to change and adapt the plan. So the 2 biggest variables are always compliance for sure, but how the body's responding as well too. And there's a lot of variables there. So trying to fine tune it so that it works for them.
Yeah. And that's where, collaborating is so cool because like you said, so much goes into where someone's results are. I mean, if they're stressed out beyond belief and not managing stress patterns in their life, well, that they could be eating and exercising and checking all those right boxes, but that's going to interrupt hormonal cycles. And again, that's kind of part of my job is to help people along that pathway. As long as some of the other experts I bring on, maybe someone needs a mental health therapist, maybe someone needs some coaching in that world, whatever. It's all about collaboration. And that's kind of what I'm about and why I bring all you guys on here. So I had a question kind of pop into my brain. And it's probably a stupid question to ask it this way, but like, what's your recommendation on how long someone works with you, like with this, like really detailed macro planning, like food logging? Because one of my things is, and my people all know this because I repeat this, is small sustainable goals that you can you know, continue forever. So like, if I'm thinking about myself, if I'm just being honest, like I'm not going to food log for the next year. Right. So give me some input on that.
Yeah, I think it depends on the individual. It depends on the size of the goal they have. So I have clients that have been, and the reality is when we get to a certain point, generally when we're in goal mode, yes, we want people at least starting out coming in probably weekly or every 2 weeks at the latest. But I have a couple clients that just pop in once a month and thinking about it more of that maintenance aspect where maybe they like to track Monday through Friday and kind of stay on it when they're in routine. But hey, we're not going to track the weekends, right? They work to a point. I have one specific client. She's a teacher. She's down 50+ pounds, and she's done fantastic. And it's now she's like, hey, I'm going to stay on track. I like to log Monday through Friday, but we're kind of working into that maintenance, and we want her to enjoy the weekends, not stress out about it, and enjoy time with family and friends. But she still likes to come in about every 3 or 4 weeks, just so that we can kind of make sure that you see it in lots of things before where somebody's lost 40 or 50 pounds, and if they just stop cold turkey, the next thing they know that they've gained it all back. So trying to still create some sort of maintenance with it. But I think everybody's goals, when we're working with athletes, obviously there's going to be a long haul of them taking it a little bit more in depth, a little bit more serious for a longer period of time. But I have some people that just want to lose 20, 25 pounds and learn how to eat. And then after 2 or 3 months, they're like, hey, you've taught me everything I need to. I'm going to, versus logging, I'm just going to kind of rinse and repeat some of those habits. And if I set some different goals or a vacation comes up or things like that where they want to reassess or refocus, they come in as well too. So I would tell you that I think 2/3 of our people probably stay on for 4, 6 months at least. A small percentage is probably in that just 2 to 3 months they got a good shot with it, and then the other side of it's probably people just trying to fully embrace that full lifestyle, and again maybe not weekly but every month or so, and just keeping on
Yeah.
track.
No, I like that. I mean, it's kind of like my philosophy is meet people where they're at. And then, coach them and guide them along the way and help them meet their goals and then see where it goes. But I love the maintenance aspect of it. Like hardcore, it's kind of like the point of this program is it's a 16-week program. I call it my intensive pro. It's an intensive program. I mean, everybody's changing a lot of things, making a lot of goals, doing a lot of stuff. But then it's not like at 16 weeks it stops, right? So we got to continue to make those strides. So what would you say?
Yeah, you've earned those goals or results. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think you've earned those goals and results? Don't throw them away, even if it's not quite as strict. Like, hey,
Mhm.
you've gotten to a point. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, 100%. I think most of us need continued coaching and guidance, but also accountability as well. So, in a lot of ways. So, what would you say are the most common struggles you find with people in following like a nutrition plan, like an eating plan?
I think this was a question we talked about last week, and I wrote down a couple of notes on here. And I think the two things that came to mind when we're talking about the most common struggles are probably the two hardest things. And I wrote down two things, and I think you'd probably agree with that. But one, I put that the expectations that it's going to be easy. I think that there's this component that obviously look around. I think it's the last stat I saw was right at 70% of the country is overweight,
Mhm.
and this expectation that, hey, I'm going to change food habits, and one, not willing to make sacrifices. Like we think in our head that we kind of we want to have our cake and eat it too, right? How can I work in fast food 6 times a week and still make this work? And so I think the expectations of that there has to be a sacrifice for something that's hard, right? I mean, the reality is it's in this country right now, it's hard to be in shape and be at an average weight. And there is the expectations that it's going to be easy. Just I think that the commitment is something that people struggle with. And then I think the other thing is it goes along with expectations, but I think people always think, hey, I'm 30, 40 pounds overweight. I need to lose it in a month. I think the expectation that they're going to see results quicker than it really takes is the other struggle, where people get frustrated after they hit a plateau week or they didn't lose weight as fast as they thought they were going to, that they just want to throw in the towel. And the reality is most of us didn't wake up with 30 pounds overnight. It probably took 5 or 6 years to get there, and it's not going to come off overnight. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100% with that. I think the expectation to lose things because some people do lose weight really quickly, but usually it's just not in the healthiest way, the best way. So
totally.
yeah, that's great. What do you think? I guess what was I going to say? How do you help people make like, so when you're working with someone and making it sustainable, like they have this goal, whatever it may be, how do you coach people along, in order so it's not like so drastic that it's going to stress them out and then they fall off the boat, right?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I would tell you out the gate, and a lot of this is speaking in regards to weight loss, because I would tell you that that's majority of when we get to adulthood, that's where majority of our nutrition programming is focused. But I think that people think this is going to be like, we don't do super restrictive calorie dieting, right? This is not 800 or 1,000 or 1,200 calories. That, for instance, that gal that I mentioned, that teacher that lost 50 pounds, she's eaten almost 1,800 calories a day. We started her lower, we've kind of worked back into there, but I think most people would look at that type of food or that amount of food and say, oh my gosh, like that's totally doable. I could do that for the long haul, right? I think there's a component there. And then I think there's the things in making sure that we can still accommodate family life, right? How can we do family suppers and dinners together? How can we still maybe go out on the weekend, both as a family or as a couple, working in some little cheat meals and things like that. And I think that's the best way to keep people on track, is still give them little carrots and little incentives, but thinking it more of a Monday through Friday sort of aspect, where you get there and, hey, I'm gonna not go willy nilly on the weekend, but a little less structured, a little bit more lax, and still continue to see some results that way.
Yeah, and kind of, I don't know if I'm somewhat repeating maybe a question from earlier, but some of the most common like mistakes people make, that you see just all the time. Like I know you kind of talked about like too lofty of goal, or they want to do it too quick, like lose a ton of weight, but any other mistakes you see people making along the way?
Yeah, I think sorry, Tommy, stop. I got my dog is whining at me. But I think one of the mistakes is that I think people have to realize there are different highways to get to the same end goal. And I think sometimes people want somebody to tell them there's a different way that has never been found before, right? And there's different lifestyle diets, the keto, for instance, right? Like, I'm all for people wanting to do a keto diet, but I think people sometimes just want them to tell something like the tried and true is not going to work. Hey, eating in a calorie deficit and exercising, let's try something different. And regardless of what it is, the reality is you still have to. This is where the lifestyle comes into play. Keto, for instance, I think there's people that have success on keto, but if you can't do it for the long haul, what's the point in doing that? Right. I think people that do some of these crash dietings where they're going really restrictive, 600-800 calories a day for a short period of time. Well, what's the point in doing that if you can't sustain it for that long haul, right? Would you prefer to eat, 17, 1,800 calories every day and lose weight for a year and keep it off? Or would you rather starve yourself 600 or 800 calories a day for 2 months, 3 months, lose it, but then gain it right back? So I think the flip flopping with diets, and thinking too short term, maybe, I guess, would be a better way to put it.
Yeah. So the way you
And
talk about
and
that,
just
you see that a lot. Like a lot of people that are doing these really restrictive 600, 800,000 calorie
yeah,
plans.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but it started with Physicians Weight Loss, and then I don't know why I'm blanking on the other one that's out there right now, where they have like little coaches that pop up, and it's kind of like a multi-level marketing. It's
Optavia or
the
something like
name,
that.
yeah, Optivia, yeah,
Or
yep,
yeah,
yep,
whatever.
same sort of deal, and they make you buy all their foods and things like that, and it's, hey, 3 shakes a day, and it's like, how, like, the amount of people that they talk, they get burned out on that so quickly, where it's you have no flexibility, it's too restrictive. And again, yeah, you can lose weight in the short term, but if you're not going to be able to maintain it 6 months down the road, what was the point?
Yeah. And this is kind of a tangent, and I don't even know if you know anything about this. So if you don't, because I don't
Okay.
know much about it, but it just came into my brain because talking about things like physician weight loss and some of these programs, but the Ozempic thing,
Yeah.
have you had a lot of people on that? I mean, I'll tell you what, it's kind of crazy. I'm gonna get this wrong, so nobody hold
Yeah.
me to any of this as fact. But I was talking to somebody, it was a medical doctor, primary care physician, just a couple weeks ago about this, and he was telling me all this stuff about how like Ozempic is wherever it's made, which I think is somewhere in Europe, it's actually banned. Like
Oh, really?
the company is making so much money. I shouldn't say it's basically banned unless it's like a physician prescription, like extreme situation, like a life and death, diabetic type thing, right? But over here, we can just get it. Right. And then the biochemistry of it, which we were talking about and we were kind of nerding out on a little bit, and I'm not going to even go there, but like the way that drug is working is pretty scary because it's activating certain things in your body that's making you lose all of this weight really fast. But we don't know the long-term, results of that because it's the way that it's looking is it's kind of like, certain other, I won't mention names, but vaccinations potentially that are creating such an immune response in people that it could lead to other concerns. And that's kind of the same thing that they're seeing with this Ozempic thing. So anyway, that was a tangent. I don't think anybody that I'm working with is on or has been on Ozempic, but I think proceed with caution if that's ever even crossed your mind, and talk to some trusted people about that. Anyway, tangent. Back to where we were, unless you have anything to add.
No, the one thing I always add with Ozempic is that I wish, with doctors prescribing it in America, like I wish there were, if somebody was going to get it, I really wish that there was like, hey, you have to meet this criteria, in the sense that like you have to change your eating habits, you have to commit to working out, it's just crazy how you could just hand it out like candy. And then, and we talk about visceral body fat and metabolic disease, and then people are just losing weight but not changing any habits at all. Like,
It
where
doesn't
you
make
at in 10
any
years?
logical sense. It doesn't make any logical sense. And I'm not scared to say it. Somebody's got to be the truth bomb person here. And I'm glad you're in that camp too. So, and I could go, oh my gosh, last night in my gut health class, when you said earlier, I have a lot of energy. I mean, I get pretty passionate. Let's just say it that. So
No, for sure.
I usually have to warn people, like, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just really passionate. So, but I was talking about how antibiotics are just like destroying our health. And, it's one thing if you need an antibiotic, like, because sometimes they're necessary, right? And I'm not antibiotic by any means, but it's like if you're not being educated by whoever's prescribing that to you on what you need to do during and after to replenish your microbiome, well, then you're kind of like up a creek, right? So that's such an important thing. So it's the same thing with those kind of drugs, the Ozempics and all the things. It's a lifestyle thing, and like you said. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but let's get back on track. I just had a couple other questions. Where was I here? We talked about the app. So is there anything else about the app? Because I mean, it looks like it's super easy to use. Like you just basically enter in your food and you can save things and.
Yeah. The way the app is set up is it, so like at the top of it, we set your daily macros, but then we set meal by meal goals. So you log into a meal and it has your target protein, carb, and fat goals at each meal. But what's really cool about it is that, one, we like to think of it like as an allowance-based system. So again, you're kind of logging with goals in mind versus just logging to log and you see where you're at the end of the day. You have specific kind of target goals, but we have the app would come preloaded with about 100 different foods in there. But then there's a barcode scanner, there's a search feature, so you can barcode scan any food item. You can search any restaurant, and you can search carrot, you can search potato, you can search Chipotle, you can search anything in there and get it quick and easy. But the really cool thing with that logging, when we create accountability and we get you in on a weekly basis, every meal that gets logged, we're able to see on the back end. We are able to look through every day's logs, and we can see, hey, because again, compliance is a big part of it. And if we're struggling to hit protein, for instance, on a certain day, why is that? Is that because we're just making bad choices? Is it something going on in the day that we need to correct and get to? But we can really walk through your day to day and figure out different changes that we need to make. Maybe it's food, or maybe it's just schedule wise, things like that. So it's a full service program where, again, full app, customized to you, weekly accountability. It's become a game changer for us over the last few years.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Technology really has changed the game. So you said a word that I want you to, and we have not talked about this. I want to let everybody know we haven't talked about this. So because I just want your honest opinion, and then we're going to see if it lines up with my opinion, with what I've already told everybody.
Okay.
Protein. All right. So do you think most people get enough protein in a day? And how important is that? Yes or no, and how much, and all that kind of stuff.
No chance. Most people get enough protein. It's the number one most
We're on the
important
same
thing.
page, man. No chance. You guys heard it
No,
from
no
Mr. Matt
chance.
Dow, not just me. So it's not just me telling you you're not getting enough protein in a day. So talk about that a little bit. Why is that so important in your world?
Well, obviously in our world, one of the things that the InBody we use is a great tool again to spin it back to that, but we're able to look at lean body mass, sounds lean body mass. So we always use that as an indicator that is the kind of the bare minimum that we want people to track. So again, the InBody is going to give you weight. And then if you think of body fat percentage, it's you break your body into pounds of muscle, pounds of fat. We always use that lean body mass number as a reference point for how much protein we should be bringing in. All your internal organs. I'm sure you've talked quite a bit about gut health, satiation as far as keeping you satisfied, regulating blood sugar levels, recovery, etc. But then even all these, every longevity study coming out there is talking about lean body mass, skeletal muscle mass, and how important, it's so easy to lose as we age that if we're not eating protein, none of that stuff. I mean, it's kind of that whole survival mechanism that keeps us going. So, and going full circle with tracking and logging food is that when we talk about people, are they hitting a protein number? Most people, again, if you ask them, they would have no idea. And that's where sometimes the tracking and logging becomes so crucial, is that if you can't answer that question, how can we fix it? Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's something I've never asked you actually, and I honestly don't even know the answer to this. So if you're helping somebody track food and they're really, really diligent with putting everything in like to the T, like how many ounces of,
mhm.
and let's just stay with the protein thing. And obviously, and maybe the app knows this, like, okay, what amino acids are in those proteins that they're consuming in their diet? So do you have the capability to get to that micro level to where, okay, you're not getting XYZ type of amino acids, so we need to supplement with this amino acid supplement? Is that something you guys can do or not
So
level?
that gets a little tricky where I look in terms of like when I'm looking at people's protein, I really like to focus on animal-based proteins. So obviously anything that walks, flies, or swims, so all your meats, chicken, turkey, milk-based products. Some people do well with them. Some people don't without them. I don't eat a lot of milk personally, but your cottage cheese, Greek yogurts, egg whites, things like that. Those are what I consider. You're always going to get auxiliary protein from certain vegetables and et cetera. When it comes to amino acid profiles, the reason why meat-based eaters do better from a muscle perspective is because those are complete proteins, right? They have all your essential amino acids built into them, so your body can digest and put them to use easier. Whereas if somebody is a vegetarian or a vegan, we take some protein with a grain of salt, right? The protein from beans and rice is not the same as protein from steak or chicken. And that would come down to the amino acid content, but we don't have the full ability to look specifically at those, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect that. Honestly, that would be really difficult. That'd be amazing technology, because that's honestly what some of the lab work we can get to that level
Yeah.
to see what people are deficient in. But no, yeah, I appreciate that and all the stuff that you guys are able to do. So we're coming down to the end of the wire here. So I got one last question, and then if you want to add anything at all. So kind of just generally speaking, what are the top 3 pieces of advice you would give someone on just, and again, everybody in my program and everybody that walks into you guys' shop has different goals. So just kind of generically or generally, like someone that just wants to improve their health, what are the best 3 things that you could say from your line of expertise?
I think number one is set realistic expectations. I think being realistic with what your goals and your expectations are, should be, and need to be. And maybe you don't know it off the top of your head, but somebody like you or I can help you out with those as well too, and make it realistic and know that you're on the right path for what you're going for. The second thing I think is really making it a priority. I think it's so easy for us to say we don't have time, or it's too hard, or it's too difficult. And it's like, well, I mean, if you don't do it now, it's only going to get worse. And I think the mindset of we don't have time to do it is BS. And I think everybody can make time for it. I mean, as you're watching Netflix telling me you don't have enough time, like you question some of that, whether it's food prep or activity. And then I think the third thing is it's just really trusting the process. I think that when you set a goal in mind, if you don't see instant results in a week or two, then it's easy to say, well, what's it all worth? This is too hard. It's too difficult. I'm not seeing anything. And it's just like, trust the process. Changes don't happen overnight. just try and build a lifestyle and some consistency with it. Snowball rolling downhill. I always use that analogy. You got to build up momentum with it.
Snowball rolling down the hill. I like it. That is so, I like it. That's good stuff, Matt. Well, so Mark, do you have any questions for Matt before we go?
Yeah, Matt, I was curious. You said you got up at 3:45. Is that a normal routine? Is
Yeah.
that your So what time do you go to bed? I'm just curious.
45 minutes ago.
45 minutes ago. Okay. And then secondly, are you married?
Yeah, married, 2 dogs, no kids, and one of them's whining in the background right now.
Okay, so is your spouse doing this? How does that work with you? Is she in a program too? I don't know what exactly I'm asking, but sometimes when you're in the program and your wife obviously supports you, and does she cook or you
What
cook, or are you
she's Scott knows my wife as well too. Scott's done a lot of work on my wife when she had a car accident a couple years ago. Um,
okay?
but my wife is just as crazy as I am, but probably crazier when it comes to like
Health
discipline with
and
food and
okay,
working out and fitness. And I'll be honest, we don't eat any of the same things throughout the day. We don't prep any meals together. We kind of just each do our own thing, and we're fortunate in a sense for that we don't have to worry about figuring out what kids are going to eat in the evenings and doing that sort of stuff. So it works a little bit better for our lifestyle. But there's still a big commitment. Waking up at 3:45, I go to the gym, I come home, I meal prep, I walk the dogs. I was at work for 8 hours. I went on a 25-mile bike ride this afternoon, and
good.
I came here and prepped again this evening, and then was hitting some golf balls, waiting for Scott to hop on the Zoom meeting. So I
Wow.
don't sit still well.
No,
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
gonna add a
obviously
couple things. When I first asked Matt to do this, he's like, "What time?" And I'm like, 8:30.
yeah,
And I'm like, "Dude, believe me, I'm in bed by
yeah,
9 usually, and I don't
yeah.
get up nearly as early as he does." So
Where did your passion and your discipline to live that kind of life come from?
It's a good question. It really started my freshman year in college was where I went kind of full go into like workout mode and started really enjoying that. And then as I think Scott can share with you. I see Scott in the gym a decent amount as well too. But like I thoroughly enjoy what I do,
Oh,
both from inside the store. But like I eat, sleep, and breathe kind of fitness, working out, and yeah, maybe for me, maybe the athletic side of things, like the pushing the body, doing endurance races and stuff like that. Maybe it's not for everybody, but I love every encouragement to get people active and get people moving, and it's not phony with us. I really enjoy it.
so was it just easy for you though to set goals? And I don't want to dominate everything here, Scott. I know our
No,
time's gone, but I
no, you're
mean,
good.
you have something built into you that, you know,
um,
I know how to
yeah,
set goals. I know how to achieve that. It's almost like, is it an innate quality, for you, or did you have to
uh,
work to get there? I know you
to
have
get
to work to get the body that you have. I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the mental part, I guess,
yeah.
maybe.
I think there's definitely a component to, and it's probably a conversation for another day, and I'm not sure how
Okay.
much Scott remembers it, but I did get really sick about it's been 11, 12 years,
Okay.
almost shouldn't be here sort of story, but
Uh,
that really did continue to change my mindset of
okay.
prioritizing myself and what I want to do and not wasting time. Um, and probably why I don't sit still well, for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think I mean, you guys have all heard me talk about like what is your why? That's how I frame it, I guess, is like, because we're all gonna struggle, whether it's the physical part, the mental part mostly. I know that's a big thing for me, is I still struggle every single night with I want to raid the cupboards. I'm kind of that boredom, emotional end of the day eater. And it's like usually it's not good choices if I do that. So it's just kind of constantly for me going back to like, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to live this lifestyle? And, you know, some people's story is, man, they were on death's bed, like with an illness or sickness, and that's what changed them. Other people, like for me, it's just like I had struggles. I didn't want to be, and most of you guys have heard this before because I'm pretty open about it, but like, you know, successful on the outside, had a thriving practice, but man, I was miserable, like burnout, stressed out, chronic fatigue, coming home at the end of the day, like giving my kids and my wife leftovers because I just didn't have the energy. And I still was checking all the boxes, like I was working out every day, I was eating right, but something on the inside of me was not going right. And that's honestly what led me down this functional medicine path, is actually figuring out what was going on in me, even though I was doing all of the right things. There was just some messed up stuff. It started with my gut, you know, and hormones and other things. And so again, just remembering your why. And then, you know, we all need to have and practice discipline. They call it practicing discipline for a reason, just like practicing medicine or practicing chiropractic is it's a constant evolution and a constant process to work on and learn and grow and change things, right? So, and like Matt said a few times tonight, it's like, you know, with a lot of his clients, it's like record for 5 days and then a couple days of, you know, don't go crazy, you know, don't have, you know, the entire birthday cake on Sunday afternoon. But don't beat yourself up if you make a few mistakes here and there. You know, jump back on the boat and get after it again, just like you have, Mark. I mean, geez Louise, you were sicker than a dog. You've been through stuff, but you're right back to the gym, back after it, back after the eating habits. So that's awesome. That's what it's all about, getting back on the boat. Keep rowing, right? So,
Yep.
well, guys, yeah, I'll end it there. And Matt, thanks again for your time. Get to bed. I hope you can get to
Yeah,
bed.
Matt,
Sleep
thanks
well
so
after
much.
this exhilarating
I
talk.
just was giving it. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I just was
Yeah.
busting Scott up a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
Yep, and I'm excited for everybody that's going to watch it probably in the next couple of days. And everybody, get a hold of Matt at the Nutrition Authority. Did you want to send out like any contact info or anything for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah. Yeah. I can text it to you or text you a business card, but it's just Matt at mynutritionauthority.com is my email. 2 stores in Lincoln. I spend majority of my time at the southwest location, 27
Okay,
the Pine
cool.
Lake.
Say it one more time. Matt at
mynutritionauthority.com.
mynutritionauthority.com. If you have questions for him, and
Okay.
honestly, guys, everybody needs to go in and get the InBody done for the first time if you haven't. And if it's
Yep.
been over 3, 4, 5 weeks since you've done it the first time, get back in and do another one, and we will
Okay.
see what progress we're making. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank
Okay.
you, Matt. Again, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Thank you guys.
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Scott.
Bye.
Bye.